Right now, you are agonizing over the font choices on your 2-page PDF resume. You are carefully curating your bullet points, listing your 10 years of experience, and hyperlinking your polished LinkedIn profile. You think you are preparing for a high-stake executive interview at a Tier 1 tech firm or a wealth fund. I'm here to tell you that you are preparing for a game that ended 2 years ago. Before we break down the exact mathematical and psychological framework of how elite corporations are actually testing candidates in 2026, hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor market using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these blueprints. The static resume is dead. In a world where multimodal AI agents handle 90% of routine corporation execution, nobody cares what you did in 2023. They care about how your biological brain processes catastrophic, high-velocity data failure in real time. Global corporations are trading traditional CVs for brutal, live environment cognitive load performance test. They are measuring your pupillary response, your keystroke velocity under stress, and your mental bandwidth. Today, we are completely redefining how you interview. Grab a notebook. It is time to stop formatting your past and start training your cognitive architecture for the future. Welcome back. I'm Dr. HR. To understand why my approach to the global labor market is aggressively different from the generic career coaches telling you to optimize your LinkedIn headline, you must understand my underlying architecture. I hold a PhD in Human Resources, a Master's in HR from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences TISS in Mumbai, and a Bachelor's in Computer Engineering. I do not look at recruitment as a matching game between a job description and a piece of paper. I look at it as a systems engineering problem. I view corporate talent through the lens of data architecture, supply, demand, and structural leverage. Operating on the ground here in Dubai since 2010, consulting for apex corporate entities and building next-generation recruitment pipelines, I know exactly what the is actually buying when they hire you. They are not buying your years of experience, they are buying your raw, unadulterated processing power. They are buying your ability to remain a highly functional strategic orchestrator when the AI algorithm fails and the system collapses. Let us dismantle the illusion of the modern interview. Let us break down the death of the resume, the science of cognitive load testing, and the exact strategies you must use to survive the Black Swan simulation. Phase 1. The death of static resume. We must first diagnose why the traditional PDF CV and the polished LinkedIn profile has been rendered completely obsolete in 2026 hiring landscape. Historically, a resume was a proxy for competence. If you had 10 years of experience in supply chain management and a degree from a legacy university, the employer assumed you possessed the ability to execute the job. But we have entered an era of hyper-efficiency and automated labor. The baseline task that used to define those 10 years of experience running Excel macros, writing procurement emails, generating quarterly reports are now executed flawlessly by embedded large language model in 3 seconds. This creates a mass paradigm shift, the coupling of experience and capability. When enterprise software and the market dynamics update weekly, your knowledge from 2023 is not just irrelevant, it is a liability. Your years of experience often just represent years of practicing outdated methodologies. Elite firms in Dubai, Silicon Valley, and Bangalore have realized that past prestige no longer correlates with the ability to handle modern, high-velocity data streams. If a candidate walks into an interview holding a piece of paper that says expert in Python and agile project management, the hiring manager does not care. Why? Because the company's AI writes perfect Python code and the company's AI orchestrates the agile sprints. What the hiring manager actually needs to know is, whenever proprietary LLM hallucinates a massive error in the production code on a Friday night and the client is losing $100,000 an hour, how fast can your biological brain diagnose the anomaly, quarantine the bad data, and architect a solution? A PDF document cannot answer that question. A behavioral interview, questions like, tell me about a time you overcame a challenge, cannot answer that question. Because candidates just recite rehearsed AI-generated answers. To find the true apex operators, corporations had to build a new filter. They had to stop asking you about what you know and start measuring how you think. Phase 2. The science of cognitive load testing. Enter the era of live environment performance monitoring. We have officially moved past from the subjective pseudoscience of personality tests like Myers-Briggs, and we have moved past generic static IQ test. Corporations are now deploying cognitive load test. Cognitive load refers to amount of working memory resources used by the human brain at any given time. In systems engineering, we stress test a server by flooding it with the traffic to see when it crashes. In 2026 executive recruitment, we stress test the human candidate by flooding them with data to find the exact breaking point. The psychological metrics of the interview. When you sit down for a final round of technical or a strategic interview at a tier 1 firm today, you are not just sitting across from a panel of humans. You are logging into a highly secure, monitored digital sandbox. The system tracks your physical and digital response in real time. Using your webcam and keystroke dynamics, the platform measures your pupillary response. When cognitive load increases, human pupil dilate. The algorithm can physically see when your brain transitions from a comfortable execution to an absolute panic. They measure your neural efficiency through your interaction with the interface. When the data gets chaotic, does your mouse movement become erratic? Do you rapidly click between the tabs in a state of disorganized anxiety? Or do you pause, stabilize your breathing, and input a highly structured query into the hyper workday simulation? These tests are designed to simulate the modern hyper workday. You are placed in a dashboard environment. You are told you are the new VP of operations. Suddenly the system goes live. You receive a simulated email from the CEO demanding a budget cut. Simultaneously, the Slack interface lights up with 3 junior managers reporting a supply chain failure. At the exact same time, the financial dashboard starts flashing, indicating a massive data breach in the payment gateway. The test is not designed for you to solve all the problems perfectly. The test is mathematically designed to be impossible to complete within the time limit. The algorithm is searching for your breaking point. And more importantly, it is measuring how you break. Phase 3. Simulated chaos as the new interview. This specific testing environment is known internally as the Black Swan simulation. A black swan is a highly improbable catastrophic event. In the corporate world, these events are happening with increasing frequency due to the interconnected nature of the global AI and the economic systems. During the simulation, you are forced to manage 50 plus concurrent data streams. The sheer volume of noise is deafening. This is where we separate the disposable administrator from the indispensable architect. The concept of graceful degradation. In computer science, graceful degradation is the ability of a system to maintain limited functionality even when a large portion of it has been destroyed or rendered inoperative. It is opposite of a catastrophic failure. Corporations are testing you for graceful degradation. When you are overwhelmed by 50 data streams, do you freeze? Do you try to answer every single Slack message? Failing at all of them. That is a catastrophic cognitive failure. The elite candidate, the cognitive athlete, degrades gracefully. When the chaos hits, they instantly abandons the low-value task. They ignore the CEO's email about the budget. They ignore the junior manager's panic. They isolate the single, most critical point of failure, the payment gateway breach. They dedicate 100% of their surviving cognitive bandwidth to the node that threatens the survival of the firm, weaponizing prompts under fire. How do you deploy the exact AI manipulation architectures we discussed in the previous masterclass? You do not try to manually read the 50 data stream. You command the machine. Inside the testing sandbox, you open the embedded LLM and you deploy a strict meta-negative prompt. You type, ingest the last 400 messages across all channels. Do not summarize them. Identify the single root cause, system failure driving this anomaly. Filter out all secondary noises. Then you deploy the Socratic drill master protocol. You do not ask the AI for the answer. You use it to rapidly test your own hypothesis. You type, I am proposing we sever the API connection to stop the data breach. Act as a hostile system architect. Tell me exactly what secondary systems will break. if I execute this command right now. This high-pressure evaluation filter for one trait that AI cannot yet replicate, human intuition and strategic triage under extreme, time-compressed load. The company watches you use the AI to tame the chaos, and they realize they have found an apex operator. Phase 4. Mental bandwidth, the ultimate currency. We must fundamentally adjust how you calculate your own professional worth. For the last century, your currency was your knowledge. You went to a prestigious university to acquire a specific set of facts, and you traded those facts for a salary. In 2026, the facts are free. The machine holds all the facts. Your currency is no longer what you know. Your currency is your mental bandwidth. Raw processing power has become exponentially more valuable to recruiters than specialized degree from legacy universities. A candidate with a degree from a state school who can remain emotionally detached and highly analytical while processing 10,000 data points of conflicting information will absolutely destroy an Ivy League graduates who panic when the parameter changes. The emergence of the cognitive athletes. This shift has given to a new class of professional, the cognitive athletes. These are the executives and engineers who treat their brains the way Olympic sprinters treat their bodies. They do not prepare for an interview by memorizing corporate trivia or practicing standard HR answer in the mirror. They train their brains specifically to pass high-stakes performance benchmark. They use spatial reasoning software, dual and back training, and extreme focus protocols to literally expand their working memory capacity. They understand the broader economic shift. The 2026 enterprise is a massive automated machine. The AI writes the code, executes the trade, and targets the marketing. The human worker is no longer the engine. The human worker is the high-level orchestrator. If the orchestrator has a low cognitive bandwidth, the entire automated fleet is bottlenecked. The company's valuation is directly tied to the neurological processing speed of a C-suite. This is why they are testing your pupils. This is why they are testing your keystrokes. They are measuring the size of the pipeline between your prefrontal cortex and the digital world. Phase 5. Adapting to the neural meritocracy. We have entered the neural meritocracy. The question is, how do you adapt? And how do you ensure you have not filtered out by the machine? You must begin upgrading your cognitive hygiene immediately to remain competitive. 1. Eradicate cheap dopamine. If you spend 4 hours a day scrolling short-form videos content, you are actively destroying your attention span. You are training your brain to expect a dopamine hit every 15 seconds. When you are placed in a 90-minute black swan simulation that requires sustained, brutal, unbroken focus, your brain will literally beg for a distraction. It will shatter. You must reclaim your sustained attention span. Treat deep work as a physical workout. 2. Practice chaos engineering. Do not wait for the interview to test your breaking point. Implement chaos engineering into your own life. Force yourself to solve complex structural problems under artificial time constraint. When you are working on a project, randomly remove a critical resource, like your internet access or a key data set, and force your brain to architect a workaround using only first principles. 3. Master the exoskeleton. As we discussed, you must view AI as an extension of your own frontal lobe. The cognitive load test is not a test of your biological memory. It is a test of how seamlessly you can integrate with the machine to expand your bandwidth. Practice Socratic prompting and the negative constraint daily until they become muscle memory. The ethical implication. As a systems engineer, I must also point out the dark side of this architecture. There are massive ethical implications to brain-first hiring. We are looking at the potential for a new digital divide, not based on access to technology, but based on neuro-efficiency. Candidates who suffer from severe test anxiety or those who simply process information differently but effectively in a slow burn environment are at a risk of being completely marginalized by these high-velocity simulations. The algorithms currently favor the cold, the detached, and the rapid. It is a ruthless system, and it is not entirely fair. But my job is not to tell you how the world should be. My job is to tell you exactly how the world is and how to beat it. Look closely at the mechanics of the market. If you are still sending out static PDF resume hoping that a human recruiter will be impressed by a bullet point from 2021, you're playing a lost game. The corporations holding the capital in Dubai, India, and across the globe do not care about your past. They care about your processing power. They are going to throw you into a digital fire. They are going to simulate chaos, flood you with data, track your psychological panic, and mathematically measure your grace under pressure. You must stop viewing yourself as a repository of fact and start training yourself as a cognitive athlete. Clean up your cognitive hygiene. Master the AI exoskeleton. Prepare for the black swan. The future of the labor is here, and your worth is measured not by what you know, but by how much complexity you can process at once. Process the data, execute the strategy, and I'll see you at the top.